Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Over coming to you on Subscriber Saturday or Submission Saturday, depending on how you look at it. With a 2v2 coming out, Allies versus Axis up here in the north, pulling the Soviet forces in the, it says blue trunks, but I'm going to guess it's actually the yellow trunks. It's literally Rommel, and playing the unfortunately colored now American troops over here. It should be, actually these guys should be blue, and the Soviets should be yellow. There we go. It is a Marty. Now, down in the south, we have a OKW player and a Wehrmacht player in orange and red respectively, but I could not tell you for the life of me what those kanji are. If anyone out there knows, feel free to let me know. The map itself is a Brezhnev Pocket, and I admit I have zero background on this particular map. It just does not get played. I will say, you can see there's a bunch of ice going around here, and also worth noting that both of our allied players have already selected their commanders. So for the Americans, it is of course going to be Rifle Company with the EZ8 and flares and all that kind of good stuff. Literally, Rommel's going for Soviet shock army. Now the Germans down in the south have something rather interesting. Let's go look first real quick at the OKW player. He is bringing along Fortifications Doctrine, Feuersturm, and of course Scavenge Doctrine. Now the Wehrmacht player, this is kind of weird for me because he has a commander I have never seen before, but we'll get back to him in just a second. He's bringing along Elite Troops Doctrine, not a surprise there necessarily. Mechanized Assault Doctrine, also not really a surprise. But this one is Encirclement Doctrine. I have actually never seen this one. Maybe I've seen this one time, but I've never seen it actually ever get selected. So I'm just giving you a second to kind of look through the abilities, kind of see what's going on with that. And this one seems much more focused on really locking down territory as opposed to actually being call-in heavy or even just ability heavy. But we'll see how that kind of goes. We see the Allies do toss out a couple of good lucks and all that kind of good stuff like that. They have gone for a very standard American opening with 3 riflemen with the rear echelon right there. As for the Soviets have gone for kind of a non-standard one. They have, of course, built their support weapon Compania. Use that Maxim out here trying to lock down this land bridge. Not going to do a whole lot when everything is ice. But they do have a couple of combat engineers and now a squad of conscripts moving in behind that. As for the Germans, we see that the orange player, the OKW player, has made triple Sturmbios. Very uncommon, but in a close-range firefight can be super deadly. You see he has made a very quick call-in of his first truck. I'm wondering if we're just going to see Battle Group headquarters being placed far forwards and used as a forward retreat point from everybody else. Well, we're going to see those triple Sturmbios blobbing up and just going to start to carve through these conscripts. Not taking anybody out just yet, but spray and pray long enough, you might take out a model or two. Luckily for the conscripts, we will see the Sturmbios going to get pinned ultra quick in negative cover, out on the road, losing 2 models super quick, and forced to back away and not really taking any damage whatsoever. We'll see this, in fact, the Battle Group headquarters going out, a couple of sandbags going out there, see medics pop out there soon enough, I'm sure. The Germans do have managed to have seized this western quadrant over here, fuel point, as well as first and second VPs, leaving the Allies kind of without a lot of resource generation by comparison. You do see for the Allies it is 32, but looking at the Germans, it's a much more whopping 50. Taking a look quick at the Wehrmacht player, we see a very strange selection of troops. We have a couple of squads of grenadiers, a very early mortar that's not going to get a whole lot of usage right now, mostly because he's not in range of that machine gun. And we're seeing just Pios galore being called in. We are going to see combat engineers going to run right smack dab into a very big group of German soldiers, and the German soldiers are just kind of hanging out right now, mostly because I think back at home base, we are going to see it tech up to Battle Phase 1. And almost immediately right after that, we're going to see those Pioneers coming out. And interestingly enough, we just continue to see a Sturmpio spam. Not anything I've literally ever seen before, but I suppose, under the circumstances, it can be a possible opportunity. Americans are kind of hunkering down over here on the right-hand side of things. You know, we're just kind of ease it up a little bit, and yay, the Wehrmacht player has decided to take Encirclement Doctrine. So we're going to actually see some interesting call-outs from this. I hope we see some Sturmpyos. I hope we see some Stormtroopers. That's what I'm trying to say right there. The orange blob of death moves in over here at these rear echelons. And with luck, the rear echelons will get away. But they're probably going to lose at least one model. Wow, probably even more than that. Good gosh. Savaged. Savaged. Never mind. First blood goes to the orange Sturmpyo death squad. Those guys are just fierce. Bolting on through with the Panzerschreck and all those STGs. Those things are deadly. Look at those things. Just glorious, gloriously pieces of engineered equipment. But probably not what you want to deal with as a allied player. Unfortunately, right now we are going to see a little bit of static play coming up from both sides. It looks like everyone's just a little bit afraid of kind of being too aggressive and dropping squads like Marty just did. And you do see that Marty has called in himself a lieutenant. He's got trip riflemen and a mortar, but everyone's over here. Over in this area. Not sure why, but they're over in this area. Guys probably need to be a little more aggressive. And what might happen here is might speed this up a little bit so that we can get to some more of the action. Oh wait, could that be action right there? Yep, Sturmpyo blob yet again. So probably going to see conscripts taking a beating on this one. Yep, dropping two models really, really quick. We see the Germans are starting to do this whole giant pincer on the Allied contingents here. And with a flamethrower on top of those Pioneers, this lieutenant's definitely getting hurt quite a bit. But this Maximus managing to keep things rather level. He's got most of that Sturmpyo blob pinned. 3 squads pinned. The 4th one's right on top of it, and it's not going to get pinned mostly because Maximus forced away. But if these Sturmpyos are unlucky, we might see a mortar shell or two put down on them. Never mind starting to come out of that pin, and once they do, they will not be unstoppable, but at the same time, they will not be easily shifted from the field. We will see that with those shock tactics being called in, we also going to see a shock troop squad moving in, and with luck, those guys are already the PPSs, so they are just brutally, brutally efficient killers. Very rather simply. The shells are still falling down in every which direction. The Soviets have not teched up, I don't think. No, they built the special rifle command, so maybe we'll see Penal Legionnaires. Maybe we'll see the Soviet sniper team. I'm not entirely sure what or why, but we might. And this lieutenant says, hey guys, you know what? We got this under control. And that's before the Wehrmacht player, though, does toss himself out a 222. And with that, we will see this mortar gets decrewed by a very, very excellent grenade coming out from that lieutenant from the Americans. Taking a quick look, we can see OKW player is bringing in an ISG, so called an STG. An ISG, a 222's been called in for the Wehrmacht player. We're going to see a tech up. He's been teched up, but he has no... Oh, he's teching up again. Unique decision. Okay. Usually right now, guys, here's an opportunity for you to place a medic bunker in your base. That's what you want to do, definitely. What is Rommel doing? Well, Rommel's seen that 222, so he wants to bring in his own anti-tank to kind of deal with it. Because right now, even though that 222 is not really pressing any advantage, he should be. And there we go. We're finally going to see some kind of activity happening over here. Interestingly enough, mortars are not really a hard counter necessarily, but very, very passive. Oh, you see these guys go down. I don't know, but this Sturmpyo blob is way more effective than I was going to give it credit for. Grenade goes out, takes out a model, but are the shock troops going to die? No, they're not. Thankfully, just barely. The Sturmpyos are forced away. Leaving really only one unit on the map, and that's an ISG who's not going to be up on the main battlefield no matter what. So that mortar, while it has not done an exceedingly high amount of damage, doing damage at all the right times, and the Zis gun is going to force back that 222. I'm kind of wonder why it's not being a little more aggressive about pushing to pick up that armored vehicle. Taking a look back right over here. Okay, that's why it's not making any medics. We will notice that all the medic squads, our medics are kind of running over here to the Sturmpyo blob, trying to heal these guys up as quick as possible. You see these guys just long enough. Okay, and we close enough, close enough, close enough. Okay, every single squad's going to be just in just for a second, and they're going to bolt. The truck that's going to become the Sheriff Panzer headquarters has just been called in. And this ISG is probably going to get picked up in a second or two. Grenade goes out. These grenades are rather excellent coming out of Marty. When my model needs to go down, it does happen. Do the riflemen actually pick it up or no? I would say they should. That'd be an excellent idea. But right now, we've seen that Marty's going to get caught out instead, worrying about his rear echelon instead of actually picking up that gun. And no, never mind. He's not picking up that cannon at all. We are seeing some stormtroopers are coming out over here to the west, I believe. No. Where are those stud muffins coming in? Way the heck back here. I thought they can deploy from ambient building. I don't know why he's just calling me from this direction. It is a little curious that we're seeing encirclement tactics. Mostly because I'd feel that with the current mode of German play, might be better to go with something a little more aggressive, a little more actually position seizing. I mean, I won't knock the sprint thing. Sprint is kind of like oorahing from the first... Oh my gosh, never mind. Bloodthirsty happenings coming out over here. There's one squad of grenadiers getting dropped immediately, and the other squad barely makes its way, limping away with one model left. What I was going to say is like the oorahing out for the riflemen in the first game. It would break suppression, just do like crazy amounts of just displacement opportunity. And now, while I thought it was a bad engagement for the Germans, it might be a good one instead. This again, the Sturmpile blob, it's just, that's all it is right now. It's just 16 STGs, well, 12 of them, and 4 Shreks. A couple with a flamethrower, 2 on the other side. Yeah, this guy might be pinned for suppressed for a second, but he's not pinned. And dear mother of God, with that kind of fire coming in, the Soviets are forced to move away, but not before losing a squad. Unlucky mortar shot sets the scales, or sets the opportunity, really, to lose a very, very valuable member of the family. Master's got to book it out of there, too. He might drop a little bit too much here. But his own mortar is firing on the German positions. The question is whether or not that 222 with the rapid-firing cannon is going to take him out. And no, in fact, Ivan is so worried about his actual comrades that he's just... Oh, no, he was dragging them back to base. Unfortunately, little Vanya over here got dropped off. And that is really the state of affairs right now. 358 to 477. 12 and a half minutes into this game, we are going to see the Germans OKW player is decapping this position now. It's going to seize it pretty quickly. And I'm wondering, if I were the Germans, what would I choose right now? Well, as the commander-wise, probably not the fortifications. Actually, I'd probably be going for Scavenge Doctrine. Yeah, because late Wehrmacht is going to be way more important for using legitimate armor. Where's taking fire? Okay, is this mortar fire being taken? Yep, that 120 mil coming from the Soviets is just dropping rounds like crazy in this area. Marty continues to not do a whole lot on the eastern side. He's kind of chilling. Not entirely sure why, but he's just kind of chilling. And I'm wondering if he's going to just start making easy 8s. If I were he, that's what I'd be doing. Re-seized ISG gets backed away, and really this should not have been even remotely an opportunity. Instead, we're going to see these... Lieutenant is just going to get hammered as MG42, just barely making it out of the firing arc. As rear echelons do have a bazooka on top of this, so the 222 does have to watch out. But really, when all is said and done, the Allies are not making a whole lot of effective usage of their... How do I put this?
Salvage operations will allow us to better economize our resources.
I don't even know. No, but instead, we're going to see the OKW player goes for the Feuersturm, so maybe we'll see a Flammenhetzer. That'd be kind of fun. I haven't seen one of those guys in a very, very long time. Mortar rounds are being thrown like crazy on top of the stormtrooping squad, and they're going to back away. Another shock troop gets called in for the Soviets, but really need to be concerned about the state of affairs when the Sturmpile blob comes to town. This one mortar squad's got 2 stars of veterancy, but not sure how many models are going to be left after this engagement. You're getting hammered. And maybe that's the kind of play to have with OKW these days, just to really use the Sturmpios as not quite mainline infantry, but a quasi-replacement. Embarrassingly enough, all their cover gets taken out, and the shock troops right here are in prime position to take them out. 6 guys against 3 with a PPS. Those things are deadly, man. They can just wipe troops out like crazy. And as this gun takes out the 222, the 222 is like, hey, look, it's an anti-tank gun. Let me say hi. And the anti-tank gun says hi with its face. And right now we're seeing an opportunity that was being totally wasted. These Germans had an opportunity to just throw a rifle grenade or something down on top of the machine gun and or anti-tank gun, and could have definitely taken it out. Not quite happening though, unfortunately. ISG though does have him on the range of, on the distance. So start dropping rounds on top of him. First one goes long for the time being, but they're going to start to get dialed in, so one unlucky round could actually take out the rest of the squad. And it's time, I think, for the Germans. Oh my gosh, the Germans just losing troops like crazy. Yeesh. But oh dear God, what is it? It is in fact a true Ostwind has come out for the Germans. Unfortunately for him, that Ziskan had a nice line of fire on top of him. And rear echelon now might be trooping forward with the bazooka. The Zook's not going to do a whole lot, never mind. Never mind. But then again, with no real way to be stopped, that Zook's going to come in again to get one more shot on top of that Ostwind. I think it's definitely a good idea coming out of Marty to do so. We will see who's at the better burst damage, and we're going to see it's going to be, oh my gosh, those shock troops are just devastate 2 squads of Sturmpyos. Just take a look at this right here. I got just, this is too cruel. Too cruel. Let me back this up just a wee bit, and let's throw the taskbar for a second. Gotta grab a quick shot of that one. Pull the taskbar back up. There we go. Alright, so massive amounts of death. Easy Yates to be called in for the Americans. It's about time, I would say. And where is that major? I don't know, but apparently every Soviet guy's like, you know what? I am not going anywhere out of this base. I'm going to stay right here. Major himself also has a Zook on top of him. And there's a couple of BARs out there too. So if you are German, you really should be watching out for these engagements very, very soon. And right now, guys, I will admit, yes, these are not, top tier players, but at the same time, recognize that this is going to be definitely a massive comeback. I'm sure of it. I can feel it in my bones. 293 to 474. The Americans and the Soviets are getting kicked down quite a bit, and it looks like this Ostwind's going to get picked off. One more round. That's all he needs. No. Instead, the infantry's going to get backed away, but the Easy is going to come rushing on through and pop the Ostwind, and there's no big issue about that one. That's just way too easy. It looks like it's like ka-chunk, ka-chunk. And perhaps unsurprisingly, we will see the Easy 8 back up, not because he has to, but because he wants to make it a sporting thing.
Our renovated HQ is ready, and heavy tanks are now available.
And that Sturmpire group at the same time is very, very fierce. Let's just recognize that right now. But no, they get backed away just as easily. Between the machine gun that comes up right there, the 50 cal can just shred infantry like crazy. We are also might see, just maybe. Oh no, you're not going to see something like that. Okay, I thought we were going to see perhaps a heavy tank coming in for the Wehrmacht, but instead he's going to go for a Stug. And calling in an actual another squad of stormtroopers. I'm not sure I agree with that one necessarily, though he does have a ton of munitions. He could probably pop up Panzerschreck on top of that. Meantime, though, Easy 8's going to sit over here and just start sniping away at these support weapons. And shockingly, after almost 20 minutes of gameplay, we will see the Wehrmacht finally bring in a Pack 40. And Marty, for some reason, is bringing in a second ambo. Not sure what his strategy is on this one, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. Fuel caches have been thrown down by the Germans. Good idea right there. Especially considering how expensive some of this later material is. Ah, and there's that sexy Panther being called in by the OKW player. He's orange, he's mean, he's green. Oh, no, he's not green. But he's something. He's something, all right. And he's charging forwards. He's like, hey, I'm going to say hi to all those Americans just as much as everyone else says hi. Unfortunately for him, he's on the line of that Ziskan right about now. He's going to take a couple more rounds, and that Easy 8's going to come forward and misses its first round, but he can play tanks at 20 paces, and he can take him out. He doesn't care. Oh my gosh, never mind. The Sturmpyos tell him how wrong that actually is. The rear echelon, can he get close enough to actually take him out? No, it does not look like it. Instead, it looks like the Maxim itself is going to be able to keep away the Sturmpyos and might even be able to savage another squad there. And we're going to see actually a rocket barrage coming in. It's going to hammer these support weapons. Destroys that Maxim. Turns it into ooey gooey little bit of paste. Nothing left. Absolutely nothing left. It's just a pile of wreckage in the middle of the field. Just heebie-jeebies. That's all I can say. Heebie-jeebies. Stug now moves forward kind of bravely, not really knowing what's going on here, but he's like, you know what? I can deal with this. I got no problem with this business. The problem with the Stug is that the Stug has really no anti-infantry ability. Instead, we just see it kind of lackadaisically fire away. You're trying to use a cannon to kill a mosquito. And although rounds come in from this ISG, we might even see this Panther Trek squad of Storms go down. No, Stormies make it away just barely. Might even see a pickup. No, we're not gonna see a pickup either. Okay, guys, that's something I gotta say to both the allied players. When your enemy drops support weapons, either destroy them or steal them, because it represents a big chunk of resources for your opponent. But instead we're going to see is actually, oh wow, that Panther's been fixed up rather lickety split, and this Rifleman is gonna get hammered too. Guys, bolt, it's time to run, and they are going to make it away just barely. I think the Riflemen are going to get savaged by this, even perhaps the Lieutenant might get hurt rather bad. But they managed to make it away, which is shocking upon everyone. I did not expect that at all. Still wondering why we have two AMBOs on the field. So one AMBO is back in base, I guess for the Soviets. The other wait, what? They're both right here. Okay, not sure why. Panther's coming back forward again. That EZ-8 is there to kind of immediately contest him. Not going to do a whole lot necessarily, especially all the support. And the shock troops, oh my gosh, get devastated by the Sturmpyos. And more Stormtroopers are getting called in, so if it's got this name Storm in it, it's going to be fierce. Ziscon EZ-8, one more shot? No. No. 17 Su-76 slide forward. Not sure this is the best idea. Get hammered. But pretty much doesn't want to get hammered by. But luckily for him, the Sturmpyo squads are nice and clumped up, and therefore are prime opportunities to get slammed into. Not sure what's firing that. To get slammed into by mortars and the like. Yeah, really not sure who just launched that barrage, but that's okay. Back down in the south, it is 215 to 474. I am surprised that the tickets are the way they are right now, mostly because the Americans and Soviets really should be pushing a lot more aggressively than they are. Maybe a little bit of fear, understandable, but gotta be a little bit less afraid of pulling the trigger there, guys. Are we going to see his territory has been locked down? Aha! So the Major has done his whole lockdown ability. You can see it right there. Where's my gosh? Where's oh, rapid barrage? That's what got called in. There we go. Lockdown. I can never remember what this thing is. Oh, the retreat point. That's what it is, I think. Anyway, what do we have? Well, it looks like the EZ-8's going on a nice flank mission out to the side. Kind of wondering if we should really just be parking into a fuel point and just kind of healing up from there. I don't know. Or rather, capturing it from there. That's what I meant to say. But a sense of relative calm comes to the battlefield for a moment or two as another Panther gets called to the field. And now you're kind of terrified of the OKW player. When you have just all of this, really it's terrifying. Literally, Rommel is turning all of his troops into Stormies, mostly because the Stormy comes to the field and he immediately dumps it. A little bit unfortunate there. Fuel cache at the same time is going to go down in a couple of shots here. Interestingly though, EZ-8 comes forward and that Panthers seem to see it and like, hey bro, we got this one. Now it would be super unlucky if they decide to actually go across the ice. Either side, really. And a mortar round or something like that comes in, it'd be kind of super funny for me, but it'd be really bad for them. You know, the Panthers are like, hey, wait a second, there he is, he's hiding from us, and this EZ-8's going to go down in another round, another set of shots. Oh my god, but before he dies, ladies and gentlemen, this vehicle crew manages to just, oh my gosh. The vehicle crew takes out a Panther by putting a round through the ice, and that was what you don't want to see as a German. Unfortunately for the vehicle crew, they can't get back in now. They are just going to, there's one guy left, and that EZ-8 is there for the taking. IL-2 strafing has been called in at the same time for literally Rommel. And this Panther, assuming the Stug is not being very circumspect about this at all. So if these IL-2s come in again, yeah, he's getting savaged if he's not going to get taken out by the Su-85s already. Main gun destroyed already. He's going to go down. Yep, there he goes. Lays and germs. He's gone. Stick a fork in him. He's cooked. Pack 40 is over here. He's got a line of sight, I would say, on the SU-76 and the SU-85. And now, has that EZ-8 been captured? Yep, the EZ-8's been captured by the Fairmont forces. Hilarious. Stern Pirates in the middle part of the field continue their run of death. Not the most effective anti-infantry again, but, you know, they're not doing too badly. For basically being just a bunch of schleps running around. And of course, as I say, they lose 2 squads. Oh yes, it's a Flampanzer! Here comes a Hetzer with a flamethrower on top of it. This thing's gonna be deadly. The lieutenant better start running soon. Kind of humorous thing about the Hetzer is, oh my gosh. The Hetzer had a super low silhouette. Probably one of the only reasons it really kind of kept it alive. Kind of a shoot and scoot. And that Flampanzer, which was going to be so glorious, is now kaput. That was annoying. All we have left now is just one Panzer and an EZ-8 that's been captured by the Germans. Depressing. Super depressing. I wonder, can these guys bail out? No, they can't. No, they only get the German ones instead. So prioritize vehicles and smoke screen because of the Sherman screen. Aha. Oh, I see. Very interesting. You know, this collection of Allied armor just kind of chilling over here. It's like, oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah, that's right. We left one of those tanks over there. My bad. And for some reason, this ECA is going to show its heels to the Pack 40. Not the brightest of ideas there. So between the Panther and the Pack 40, they might be able to take out this the Panther, but the ECA will probably lose its life. So there's one. And there's 2. So, you know, it's nice to see that at least they're nothing but if not consistent. Kind of waiting for that wreck to just melt through the ice, but it's not going to happen, unfortunately. 159 to 467. Allies really should have this one in the bag, but they're mishandling this quite a bit, I have to admit. Another EZA gets called in, the third one of the game. Let's hope the Americans can actually hold on to this one for a bit of time. And for right now, the EZ-8 says, oh, bro, you got a machine gun? Well, I have a main battle tank right here. You probably don't want to charge me with that, do you? And no, that's the case. But at the same time, while he does run away gamely, he gets shot down just as bravely.
Enemy forces are securing
This particular vehicle crew is like, hey, that's our tank. Give that back. Kind of unfortunate right there. Is this a broom bar we're going to see? I think a broom bar is going to be coming out for the Axis. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, having some issues with my keyboard shifting around here. See a big push of Axis infantry coming out, and we might see the middle VP finally going over to the Allies, but the western one goes back to the Germans. And I think that is in fact a broom bar. I'm going to go check a quick look. The silhouettes on here for sometimes just kind of throw me ever so slightly. Yes, a broom bar it is. Not really the most best idea for it. Not the greatest idea. Shock troops this Maxim are going to try to lock down these 3 Pio squads. Okay, they force it back. All is right in the world. Yep, it is in fact that broom bar. Little broom bar, how are you? It's really funny for me to watch the fact that there's like, oh look, here is an EZ-8. I feel like Rommel in the middle of North Africa right about now. Oh, the SU-85 and the SU-76 are trying to get round down on that Pack 40. It should be able to do so in a second. The rifleman is going to just ice that thing. Okay, Marty, at this point, toss a grenade at the anti-tank gun itself. Destroy the thing. You don't want it. Just get rid of it. Sure, Pie's coming right back up the middle again. Hey diddle diddle they go, and hey diddle diddle they flee. Or tweedledee they flee. I'm not entirely sure how to go with that. EZ-8 that's been captured comes in saying, hey, you know what? We have a cross on the SU-85 and the SU-76 are like, oh great, someplace for us to aim. Fantastic. Throwing rounds down range, and that thing's gonna be dead. It's gonna brew up in a second. There it goes, and now there is no real armor left on the field. Wow, the OKW just has lost all of its infantry. Stormtroopers coming through and getting savaged. They go down. Shock troops in behind on the retreat path. That's a lot of PPS fire right there, and shockingly, they're going to do is make it away without dying. Broombar coming up, trying to stem the bleeding. Comes up, throws a round or 2 down range. Not going to do a whole lot, though. And we're going to see a barrage coming in. The question is, where's that barrage? Oh, close the pocket. Okay. So I'm bombarding on all the frontline sectors. A unique thing. Wish I knew where and how the different rounds kind of came out. Now, the broom bar is good in some ways in that it's kind of like, okay, cool, we have the ability to throw rounds into, well, frankly, everything. But unfortunately, like the tooltip says for this, another Panther, okay, cool, is that it's great for infantry, and it's kind of shit, really, against anything that's got any kind of armored skin on it, which is why the EZ-8 is kind of running around happily, blowing up caches and stuff like that. The real test comes right about now when all these Shreks come zooming out for the orange OKW player. Now, one of those Shreks is out from Stormtrooper Squad. Not that doesn't make it any easier, it doesn't make it that much better, but it's, you know, coming out as a Stormtrooper Squad, so it's not just all one group anymore. But finally, Marty is bringing in 2 tanks at the same time. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a reason to just celebrate. An MG34 comes on for the OKW player as well. Probably not soon enough, though. 159 to 405. It is going to be a trip cap for the Americans, for the Soviets. And oh look, it's a little Jagdpanzer, isn't it? I will say well done to the Germans for not losing more than 100 tickets in the first 32 minutes of this game. At the same time, I kind of feel like the Americans and the Soviets really gifted you that lead. So we've been unfortunate just to see that. Now, Marty, I'm asking you right now, my friend, can you please explain to me why there's the ambo out in the field, or second ambo in the field? To me, it doesn't make a ton of sense, but, you know, I am just a lonely commentator, so if you could help me out with that, I really would appreciate that. Because you have them basically on top of each other. There's one right there, and there's one right back in base, too. So it's like, okay, it's cute that they're able to distribute medical supplies, and that's great. But I'm not sure about the long-term purpose of that. EZ-8's come in to start hammering on top of that broom bar that's been shooting at its lieutenant. The second that they do, I'm pretty sure these guys... No, they don't. I always thought that the EZ-8 would have the ability to go between HE and AP, but no, that's not the case. It's just way more concerned about just throwing rounds downrange, AP rounds essentially, and trying to wipe out one by one by one by one by one. And so far they're successful doing it. There is nothing helping out this infantry. Back away, my friends. Swim away. Swim away. Ah, here we go. So we're going to see some of that close the pocket artillery up on this business right there. Oh, there it is. Cool. Yeah, I haven't really seen a whole lot of that. Interesting. Cool. But the rear bar's going to die, and there he goes. He is brewed up. He goes into tank heaven? I don't know. More IL-2s are getting called in, so if that guy comes in right now while that Jagdpanther is still out in the open, airstrike, my friends, that thing's going to go down. No, but one squad of Sturmpires gets savaged. And rockets galore come in. The Mechanized Regiment finally gets called in for the German player. Probably good for him. He can start pumping out those medics. That Jagdpanzer's got to move or he's going to lose it. He's probably going to die. He's not backing up at all. One more round. No. No, he does make sure able to limp away. And the IL-2 is just kind of like, hey, look, guys. Free targets for me. Panzer Headquarters is like, wait a second, I got this bad boy. Any kind of hammering? No, it's not. So we're just going to see the IL-2 kind of swim away. Not going to do a whole lot more. And it seems while the Su-76 has probably gone down. Yes, it has. Yikes. Ouch, that hurts. It just makes me sad to see sometimes what happened to the OKW players. That he had a really, really interesting comp. Not necessarily high on inventiveness necessarily, but interesting nonetheless. And he's just gotten kind of hammered the entire way through. Now the western side of the map, where the Wehrmacht player is going to be a couple of very, very hefty vehicles and pretty much everything that's left. And what had been, for a very, very long time, a very dynamic and complete forces for both Axis players, has now turned into kind of a... Well, I didn't even want to say it on the air. I'm a little bit nervous to see whether or not I get, yelled at by, the censors. I think it would be fun at this point, though, for Rommel to really just to plop down one of these howitzers and just throws down one shot every now and again. Just ka-choom, ka-choom. I think, okay, massive craters, and frankly, if you just see anything on the map, you point, you click, it goes boom, it goes by. Heck, he could even just shell all these base structures all day. It'd be just as much fun. Nevertheless, we have seen a 200-point swing coming from the Allies against the Axis. And Strumpio is neglecting any kind of cover whatsoever. There's rushing forward, trying to get to optimum targeting areas. But 4 units of shock troopers is an awful lot of automatic weapons fire to deal with. Submachine guns, excuse me. These stormtroopers don't have a chance. Those poor guys. Even the Jagdpanzer cannot effectively chase these guys off. See, if I were the Soviets, first of all, yep, here comes a grenade is going to do tons of damage. Almost takes out one squad by itself. Now the EZ-8s have come forward, and once this Jagdpanzer goes down, I mean, these guys have like nothing left. Unfortunately for them, they are in range right now of that Schwerpanzer headquarters. There's a third EZ-8. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is cute. Okay, so there goes the Jagdpanzer. EZ-8s are going to take some damage because those guys are not the most durable of characters, but that's okay. But now, what had been a very, very laid-back Allied force is now just going to charge through all these Strompios and running guys over like crazy. 280 mil rocket barrage is going to happen, but those things are not armor-piercing, are they? I've never really seen what they do to armor necessarily. Okay, they're fairly effective. Not incredibly good, but decent enough. Now, this EZ-8 is going to go down in a second, I imagine. But for that, they've already taken the Schwerpanzer headquarters and they've destroyed another unit of Strompios. No, he limps away. So 159 to 192, the Allies have managed to sling this one definitely back in their favor. Now, vehicle crews, if there's still one out there that's been dispossessed, yes, this is. This is the poor guys who lost their tank before because they were kind of stupid and were like, oh my gosh, we're going to lose it. Might as well get out of it and give the Germans something to do. Bad idea, my friends, bad idea. Meanwhile, the Soviets have decided to continue to go for that whole, like, super amount of, that's what I'm looking for here, shock troops. Basically using them as all their actual infantry right about now, which is great when you're in a short-term firefight or short-range firefight. Allied barrage. I don't see no stinking barrage. No. Okay. Mortar? Okay, that's what it is. It's a mortar barrage. Who gives a darn at this point? Okay. But I would think that the Soviets should be making a lot more high-end vehicles. I mean, they have almost 550 fuel, 560 fuel. They're finally making an Su-85, which is great against tanks. But I just start pumping out tons and tons of medium tanks. Not only are they ridiculously cheap by comparison, here when I get to the Su-85, and the Su-85 is more expensive in terms of fuel and marginally in terms of manpower, but it feels like the T-34, first of all, you can build at this point 7 of them and not break a sweat. He can just literally just throw them on the front lines and not lose, and not even watch them, just lose every single one of them and just win through pure attrition. Unfortunately, the rear echelon squad's going to go down in a second. Right, Willie Pete barrage is going to come in, smoke barrage, and oh no, it's IL-2s. That's what I meant to say. Oopsies. So they will lose the strategic point, at least to have it decapped out from underneath them. But if this IL-2 comes in again while these guys are still up and about, it's going to be pretty brutal. Now, fortunately for them, the Soviets are chasing them off the point. But if I were they, oh no, God, they're still in the line of fire. They're going to get suppressed. One squad goes down, and with all this automatic weapons fire, submachine gun fire rather, I can continue calling automatic weapons. Yep, Other models take grievous losses as they fall back. These tanks don't do jack. They just kind of sit there, which is unfortunate right now. There'd be a perfect opportunity to just throw... Okay, the Panther, the Stug, and the Panzer IV. Yeah, even throwing 2 of them at this massive blob of infantry, they could throw these guys back into the frozen wastelands like that. I say like that. I actually am trying to like theoretically snap my fingers right now, but I want to do it over the air because it'd just be kind of like awkward. But in the meantime, what do we have? We have another Su-85 back on the field here. He has no veterancy, obviously. The other guy with 2 stars. And these Easy-8s are also kind of like, yeah, bro, we got this. It'd be kind of fun, really, to see a big push of armor right about now. But we are going to see instead, we're going to see the Sturmpile shifting forwards. And now every tank in existence is going to just barrage these guys to death. And a 4th Easy-8's coming in. So, rocket barrage coming down on top of the Su-85s, and we'll actually might even take one out? No. No, they don't. But, yeah, all this allied armor up here really should not have to worry about anything. 5-star Sturmpile squad. Is he going to make it away? I think one more round could do it. Nope. And instead, he's going to make it back. Just barely. Just barely. And here comes the massive tank engagement, which we've all been waiting for. So take off the taskbar for this one. So we just fully appreciate this. So the Panzer IV rushes in and immediately gets hammered. Panther, in the meantime, oh my gosh, the other EC-8 takes a round from that rocket barrage and just drops it through the ice. And the Stug, which really should be dead like a long time ago, manages to survive. The one thing about that for the Allies, which is so bad, is the fact that they lost the most vetted up tank. You just get a nice cinematic shot from this. Pack gun gets picked up, and this Panther backs away, saying, "Guys, you know what? I'm done with this now. I don't want to fight anymore. Can't we just be friends?" And the Su-85 is like, you know, my name is Mikhail Montoya. You killed my sister's cousin. Prepare to die. And again, excuse me, the Su-85 dies, not a big deal. This makes it like 4 more of them. Panther goes down. That Stug gets pretty much decrepit. The Su-85 gets taken out by a Shrek. And there goes the Stug. So let's reset the camera a little bit. There we go. And I believe, just barely, that this is probably the end of the game right about now. The Allies, after getting knocked around for a bit by playing so passive, are able to bring it back home, slamming this tank fighting back into the Axis face. Oops, frame drop there for a second. 159 to 23. Thanks so much. I think Allied player, I don't know which one it was. I'm not sure it was literally Rommel or Marty, but I'm pretty sure it was an Allied player who sent me this game. Thank you so much for this game. You want to let me know which one you are, I'll definitely give you a better shout out next time. But thanks so much for sending this in to me. I appreciate the ability to cast it. And although, yes, definitely some stuff to work on both sides. It was a lot of fun to watch back and forth. MG42 barely makes it away, and it looks like the last stand of the Sturmpio squad, the Death Squad. And then they realize that death is overrated, so they bolt. And that will be it. So a nice little match coming on in. 43, probably about 40 before the end of the game. And that will be, yeah, that's going to be it for us, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you again. I believe it was, maybe I'm going to guess it's Marty. Marty, if it's you, thanks so much for sending into this game. If it was Rommel, thanks Rommel for sending in this game. I appreciate it a whole lot. Guys, if you have a game you want me to show for either Subscriber Saturday or just in one of the regular rotation, please let me know. Email me at conorggaming@gmail.com. I know I've gotten some excellent stuff coming in. Thanks so much to Reddit. But you guys out there, let me know. And if absolutely nothing else, I'll see you guys all soon. Take it easy, everybody. This is Conor signing off.